Hey there guys, Devlon and TBI here coming at you with a deck profile. And if I sound messed up, it's because, I don't know, I'm coming down with a sickness right now. But I wanted to get this deck profile out for you guys because it's been a while and I've been switching around this deck a lot, and I decided why not give you a deck profile now because I recently had a shop tournament with this deck and I came in second place. So let's get straight into it. So the world this time is Katana World. So I went back to Katana World and tell them by the flag you should know what I'll be playing. And that is Oni Assassins. I wanted to try Oni Assassins. They were a fun deck. They were. And I'm really glad I made them because they have really good combos and really fun things to do. So yeah, let's get straight into the deck. So let's start things off with my size 0 Lesser Fino Jaekku. He's a 2/1/1 size 0. When he enters the field by ambush, draw a card. And Oni Assassins have a new ability called Ambush. So let's explain what it does. The description is right here. So Ambush is an ability that says when this face down card is put from the soul of a card in your field into the drop zone, you may call it by paying its call cost. So the card with the ambush keyword, if it's face down in the soul of something and it comes out and put into the drop zone, you can call it by paying its call cost. Pretty unique ability and pretty good. So your opponent will never know what you have in soul. So it's like you can mind grind them or something like that, make them think something when there's something else. So yeah, pretty decent. So 4 size 0s. Starting the size 1 lineup, I played 2 copies of Fino Gaze's Affliction Oni. He's a 3/1/1. With the call cost of pay 1 gauge. When he enters the field, I get to put up to 1 Oni Assassin item from my deck to my hand and shuffle my deck. That's if he's called regularly. If he's called by ambush, you still get the same effect, but you get a bonus, which is I may equip an item from my hand by paying its equip costs. So yeah. So one thing about this deck, some of these assassins have an ambush that's like a secondary effect that triggers when you meet the requirements. So yeah, that's for some of them, not all of them. Most of them just has a regular effect that you can play just by calling them or by ambush. It doesn't matter how you call them, as long as you just call them on the field. So yeah. So 2 copies of Affliction Oni. Next up, I play 4 copies of Fino Gaze AO. He's a 1/2/1. And he has one ability only when he enters the field. Choose an Oni Assassin on my field, then look at the top 3 cards of my deck. Put up to 1 card from among them into the soul of the chosen card, and put them back into the deck. And put the rest of the cards back to the bottom of the deck in any order. So here's an example of an Oni Assassin that can use this effect. Either you ambush him or you don't ambush him. So he's really good because he can get his effect at any time, rather it be ambush or regular. So yeah. So he could be a target to put into the soul just to have that ambush. So yeah, 4 copies of him. And that's the rest of the size 1s. We're going to be moving on to the size 2s. Moving on to the size 2s, we have 4 copies of Red Lady Oni Ikaruga. She's amazing, 5/2/1 for 1 gauge. When she enters the field regularly, I can put up to 1 ambush card from my deck. Not from my deck, from my drop to my hand, except herself, so she can't get herself. And then if she was called by ambush, so here's the extra secondary effect, I can put up to 1 card from my hand face down into the soul of an Oni Assassin on my field. She has natural move, which is nice. She doesn't have soul guard, but she doesn't move, so you could just put something in her soul face down. When your opponent attacks, you can move it to the center. She doesn't have soul guard, so she'll go to the drop automatically, and then the ambush card will take over or whatnot. So yeah. So 4 copies of Ikaruga, really amazing card. Next, we got 4 copies of Rashomon. He's the only non-ambush Oni Assassin in this deck because his call cost makes him amazing, and he has move and soul guard to boot. So 6/2/1 call cost is look at the top 3 cards from your deck. Put up to 1 of them. Put 1 from among them face down to this card's soul, and put the rest into your drop zone and pay 1 gauge. So you're pretty much just toolboxing for an ambush card and then setting an ambush into his soul. So just because of his call cost, and he has a move in Soul Guard, so you could just move him. They try to kill him. He has Soul Guard, and ambush card activates and all that stuff. So a lot of things can happen with him, and you can use AO to put soul into him to give him more Soul Guard. So which is also really nice. So yeah, we have 4 of him. Next up, the one and only size 3 I play in this deck. 4 copies of Oni Boss Kitabuki. 825 with the call cost of pay 2 gauge. When he enters the field regularly, I destroy a monster on my opponent's field. Then if he enters by ambush, so secondary effect, I deal damage to my opponent equal to the size of the destroyed monster. So like he's basically like Greybard, except he has double attack naturally. So he can just go swing. He just go okay. Kill your monster, burn you for like. Okay, size 1 birdie for 1, swing 2, swing 2. So he just did like 5 damage right there. Kill a size 2, swing 2, swing 2, 6 damage right there. Size 3, swing 2, swing 2, 7 damage right there. Or if you're playing Ozzy, size 4, burn 4, swing 2, swing 2, 8 damage right there. So he can do a lot of damage on his own, which is pretty nice. So yeah, and he's only cost 2 gauge. So pretty amazing card. This card is ridiculously good. As for numbers on what to play him at, I personally just like playing him at 4, but if you want, you could just play him at 3 or 2. If you want to play the other size 3, just play 2 of him, 2 of the other size 3, which is Kihi. So yeah, but personally, I just only like Oni Boss. So yeah, that's all for the monster lineup. We're gonna move on to the spells. Starting the spell lineup, I play 2 copies of Hades Fall. Hades Fall is a classic card. We should all know what it does by now. But actually, you know what? For new players who don't know what Hades Fall does, its cast cost is pay 1 gauge and choose a card from my deck and put it face down to this card's soul. With my opponent, when a monster enters my opponent's field, I put all souls from this card into the drop zone. If I do, and if a card that was put in the drop zone is the same size as the opponent's monster that entered, I destroy that monster and deal 2 damage to my opponent. So it's like a trap, pretty much. So really good with Oni Assassins because you could just put any of the monsters into the soul, and you play from size 0 to size 3. So depending on it's easy to hit all decks with this, and so you just go, oh, I call a size 2. Okay, I put a Correa into the drop. Ambush activates, pay gauge, Correa comes on the field, and I got to burn you for 2 and destroy your monster. So really good. I only play 2 because decks like Prism Dragons can't be burned. Decks like Thunder Empire can't destroy their bots. You can still burn them for 2, but you can't destroy their bots. It's annoying. So like, and then Mirror Match is not that good because you can destroy their card, yeah. You can burn them for 2, yes, but then you'll probably be proccing off their ambush because they still have to pay call costs and shit. So yeah, 2 copies of Hades Fall. Next, I have 2 copies of Banquet for the Unrighteous. What this card does is I choose and use one of the following 2 abilities. The first ability being I look at the top 3 cards of my deck, search for up to 1 monster from among them, add it to my hand, put the rest into my drop. Or I put a card from my drop zone face down to the soul of a monster on my field. So it's a pretty good card. I only play a 2-0 to make space for my deck. Because I like to play a lot of things for our combo plays. So this card helps get more ambushes back into the soul, so that's nice. So yeah, 2 copies of it. 2 copies of Optic Operation Shrouded Starcoat. We're a little card to have in this deck, but I use it for a reason. Here's the reason. It has 2 abilities. It's rather a White Dragon Shield clone, which I usually don't use a lot, but if I have to use it, I'll use it. And the second ability is the one I use the most, which is counter, put a soul from a card on my field into drop zone. If I do, put the top card of my deck into the gauge. So during the attack phase, I could just go swing with everything. There's a soul in something. Okay, Optics Operation, Straw Coat, remove that soul, get engaged, ambush again. Stupid stuff. So you could just go, like, my attack phase could be stupid because I have multiple cards like this that remove soul at counter speed, like, and you'll see more of those cards later. And then you just do a lot of things. So yeah, 2 copies of Straw Coat. Next, 2 copies of Ninja Art Snake Gaze. You're wondering why am I not playing 4 of, because it is meta. Because 1, I'm making space fit in my deck, and 2, I'm doing a thing called, yes, I'm only playing 2. I want my opponent to think I'm playing 2, and then I side 2 in later, because yes, I do side 2 more for the Thunder Empire matchup, which every time I face Thunder Empires, I put the 2 that's in the side into the main, so now I have 4 in the main. So yeah, it's pay 1 life, rest of monster on my opponent's field. During that tournament, it was a time where I never really needed it against everything else I was playing. It was just needed against Thunder Empire and Dragon Chief Emperors, and that's it. So I had a good reason to play just 2 of it. Because every time I drew it against the other matches, I really couldn't use it. It's rather they had an item that was more problematic than a monster, or they barely had any monsters. So yeah, just 2 copies of Ninja Art Snake Gaze. Next, we got 3 copies of Under the Table. This card is your Gauge Excel. This card is one of your main Gauge Excel cards, even though you have others in this deck. So for its regular effect, you top 2 in the gauge and gain 1 life. Or if it's put from face down to the soul of an Oni assassin into the drop zone, I gain 3 gauge. Pretty simple, pretty good, helps you set up a lot of things. Next, we got 4 copies of House of Assassins Oni Convoy. Act, I can put a card from my hand into the face down to the soul of an Oni assassin. If I do, I draw a card. I only have 1D set, and yeah, it's pretty much what it does. It's really good. It helps you filter your hand a little bit, and it helps you set up the ambush as well. So really good. Next, we have 4 copies of Underhanded Mean Sneak Attack. This card is amazing. Personally, I like playing it at 4. You don't have to play it at all, or you can just play it at like 3 of or 2 of if you want. I don't care. I love playing this card at 4. This card has saved me a million times. So what this card does is cast cost, put a soul from an Oni assassin on my field into the drop zone, counter destroy a card on my opponent's field. Straight up. Nothing else. That's it. Straight up kill something. I usually use this on my attack phase to like get more attacks in while also destroying my opponent's resources and stuff. So, well, not resources, but the cards that they need on board to like do anything to me. So, really amazing card. I really love this card. I play this at 4. Next, we got 4 copies of Hiding Oni. Jaekku, I can put a soul from a card on my field into the drop zone as its cast cost. Its regular ability is I put the top card of the deck into the gauge and draw 2. Straight up. So it can combo with things like my buddy, where I could just gain a gauge and draw 3, while also getting a card monster to the field for free. So really amazing card. Helps you helps with the draw power, helps with the gauge excel as well. Helps you draw into things that you might need later on in the game. This card is really amazing. Straight, it should be a 4 of in any Oni assassin deck, in my opinion. Again, my opinion, not a fact, but still, I feel very strongly about that. So yeah, 4 Hiding Onis. Next, I have 4 copies of Midnight Bodyguard. This is your nullifier, basically. Nothing to really say except for its extra effect, which is, well, first I need an Oni assassin to block with it. That's first off. But second effect is counter nullify the attack. Then I may put a card from the soul of a card on my field into the drop zone. If I do, I get engaged in life. So during your opponent's attack phase, you could just activate an ambush, and let's say it's a Kidabuki, you could just pop the monster during their attack phase and burning them. Really amazing thing you could do there. So yeah, 4 copies of Midnight Bodyguard. This is basically the nullifier that can help you proc off extra things. Now we're finally at the items. I played 2 copies of Dark Arm, Sword and Blade. It's a 3/2. A quick cost is pay 1 gauge. All Oni assassin monsters on my field get power +1, so good against the prison matchup. When my monster enters the field by ambush, I choose a monster on my opponent's field and pay 1 gauge. If I do, I destroy that card. It only uses ability once per turn. So, really amazing weapon. This is probably the preferred weapon you would like to go into most of the time for certain matchups. But there are times when this card wouldn't work against matchups as well. So then I have a backup weapon to this. And that backup weapon would be Dark Arms, Steel Slicing Strings. 4/2. Quick cost is 1 gauge and 1 life. This card is pretty good too. When this card attacks, I may put a card from my hand face down to the soul of an Oni assassin on my field. If I do, I put the top card in my deck into the gauge. So it gives you good gauge excel. And it helps set up your ambush as well. So like, there's a lot of cards in this deck that helps you set up ambush, and it's really, really good. So I played 2 copies of it. And last but not least, 3 impacts. Dark Skill, Aerial Wellings. Cast cost is pay 2 gauge. Choose and use one of the following 2. I could rather choose an Oni assassin on my field, put up to 2 cards from my deck to its soul face down, or counter, put all souls from all cards on the field into the drop zone, which is amazing because hits Prison Dragons, hit Dragon Chief Emperors, hits Shadow Shades, hits so many soul-based decks, it's not even funny, it's ridiculous, and then also procs up all ambush on your side. That second ability is like ridiculously good. I really love it. The first effect is also good too because it sets up as well. So then you can just go 1 to set up and the second one to proc the ball off. So it's just good. But yeah, 3 copies of this impact. And yeah, that's all for this deck profile. Stay tuned to hear the ending of this. So that was the deck profile for you guys. I would do a tournament report, but that's gonna I'm actually might do that as a separate video. I'm not sure yet, but I do have a tournament report I can tell you guys pretty much. But yeah, this is the deck profile for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more TBI content. And this is Devlon of TBI going out. Later, guys.